Kenner's Predator toy line gave us many variations of the Predator character. And today, we're going to take a look at another one. From 1994 comes Nightstorm Predator. Packaged on that classic Kenner Predator packaging, featuring some cool artwork of this Nightstorm variant up at the top, along with the profile of the normal Predator along kind of the side there. It's got that very colorful purple background with the red and yellow burst behind the figure that is fully showcased in the blister bubble. The back of that packaging has that familiar grid pattern that we've seen on all of Kenner's Alien and Predator toys. And not only does the back of this packaging show off all of the different Predator figures that were available, but we also get a look at all the crazy Aliens variants as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Nightstorm Predator outside of the packaging. Now, one of the things that I find really cool about the Nightstorm Predator is the fact that he features a solid black paint deco. There's just something really cool about seeing this sleek black paint design on his skin. And top that off with some really cool gold armor over it, and you've got one slick looking action figure. This is another one that always really stood out to me because of that color combination. Now, even though these Kenner figures were very basic and only featured 5 points of articulation in most cases, and were a little squat and disproportionate, they still featured a pretty good sculpt. You can see that there's a lot of detail put into the face on this guy, with his open mouth and his green piercing eyes, and lots of great little details sculpted into his body and his armor parts. Now that body, like I said, is just a deep black color, but sticking off the back of his head, you'll see that he does still have his familiar braids, which are done in a brown plastic. Then the armor that he's wearing is mostly a sort of metallic color gold. It's not too shiny, but it's got enough of a shine on it that it really stands out among that flat black of his body. You'll also notice that the leg armor there is kind of more of a bronze color, and sticking off of his right forearm is a pair of bronze claws. Now, while most of the figures in the Kenner Predator lineup were 5 points of articulation, this one is really only about 4 points. The reason for that is that the large hair sculpt on the back completely prevents the figure's head from moving on this one. He's unable to turn his head at all, so all you're going to get is up and down movement in the arms and up and down movement in the legs. And with these figures kind of having a pre-pose stance with the legs, there's only about one way you can stand these guys on your shelf. But after all, these guys were made much more with play in mind rather than collecting and display. This was a kid's toy line after all, based on a rated R movie, which is still baffling to me. But the cool thing is that Nightstorm Predator here came with several accessories. First of all, he features a removable mask. The mask is done in a gold plastic to match the armor that he's wearing, and has the ability to snap right onto his face. It even has 2 little holes in the front so that the little tusks sticking off of his mouth can fit through them. Another thing that's going on here is that the design of this mask is definitely resembling of a scarab beetle, giving the overall look of this particular Predator an Egyptian motif. In addition to that removable mask, he also comes with this cool staff accessory. Now, both of his hands are molded open, but it does have a little handle on there, so that way you can slide it onto his left open hand and it stays in place nice and tight. It's all one solid color, but it features this really cool little skull at the top. And then we come to Nightstorm Predator's more gimmicky accessory. This is his twin turbo blaster. I believe that this particular accessory came with more than just one of these Predator toys, but let me go ahead and show you how this thing works. He's got a little clip that actually fits around his waist, and there are 2 handles on there, but since his hands are open, he doesn't actually hold onto it, hence the reason for the clip. Then we've got 2 little missiles that are stuck together with a rope that go into each one of the little blasters there. Now you clip this thing to his waist, you make it look as if he's holding it, and then you press the little button on the top, and it fires out both of those missiles. Now what's fun is that the rope in the middle makes them work sort of like a bola. So if you fire at one of your other figures, it's going to wrap around the figure and knock them down. It's actually a pretty fun little effect. But it is worth noting that it's quite top heavy, so it's going to be really hard to position this guy standing while holding that because of his pre-posed legs. You'll have to lean him quite far back in order to get him to do it. So there you go, guys. There's a look at another one of the really cool variants from the Kenner Predator line. Nightstorm Predator is another of my favorites, but who am I kidding? I just love this line entirely. Like I said, it's still a little strange seeing an action figure line like this that's for kids, that was based on a rated R film, but that was kind of a common thing back in the early 90s. And I know that these things don't really measure up to today's standards as far as detail and sculpt and articulation go, but the fact that these were the only Predator figures at the time, they really did have some really cool appeal. And now they've got that nostalgia connection, and that's what I really love about these guys. Until next time,